is working. I'm going to try something totally different today. Just want to confirm everybody can hear me and see me okay. I've got the technology I'm using today is a bit different. So can everybody hear me and see me? Let's see, can I read that from here without my glasses on? Yeah, maybe I can. I don't know. We'll try it. No, I'm going to try it with my glasses on. So I see that Therapod Hunter is here, as well as Laura Taylor, Sandy, Joseph Tavir, Tima. Good. So I probably missed some people. Yotaro is here, Frank the Tank. The way I have the chat, I can't scroll back very easily. I mean, I have to go over to the screen and do different things to scroll back this time, so I'm just going to do my best and we'll see. So I see Simply Ciel and Switchblade. Welcome. So as you might see here, this is my Portulacaria afra. And it's been a while since we've done a face-to-face stream, so I wanted to do that. But I also, because the weather is getting to the point where I needed to do this, I had my my Portulacaria afra bonsai out in the backyard, planted into the ground. So I took her, call her her, out of the pot and out of the bonsai pot and put her in the ground from, I don't remember if it was I think it was May. Did that in May and then let her grow out in our garden until just a few days ago. So May to mid-October-ish. And she's gone crazy. She's grown a lot. I've trimmed her a little bit during that time, but not a lot. And so it's time to do some trimming. Trim her back a little bit according to the rules of bonsai. I'm not an expert. I don't profess to be an expert in bonsai of any sort. But it's always something that's fascinated me. And I've had this particular Portulacaria afra, also known as speckboom, elephant bush, elephant's food, has a few other names, mini jade. It's not actually in the same genus as jade plants, not that closely related. But the leaves stay tiny. And I've had this for about 15 years, a little over that, I think. So, yeah, I'm excited to try that. I'm going to see if it lets me go back a little bit. It kind of does. Oh, Yotaro got first true scorpions. Cool. Yeah. So, you got some bonus scorpions, Yotaro. Nice. Therapod Hunter has a rainbow eucalyptus. That's cool. Oh, I need to take the thingy out. That's what's going on. Yeah, I figured, I'm glad people are appreciating it. I like to do different things once in a while. That's why I switch it up. You do face-to-face streams. Sometimes we're just looking at isopods or other critters. Sometimes it's in front of the aquatic bug tank. Sometimes it's in front of the desert beetle tank. Sometimes I'm holding a snake, you know, whatever. Sometimes in front of the frogs. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's see, how was the expo? Cool. I didn't actually go to the expo this time. I was going to, but my knee was bothering me far too much to go to the expo, unfortunately. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm clipping off branches that go straight down and putting them in this little box. Branches that go straight down, if you're doing certain types of bonsai, that is fine, but if you're not, you don't want those. So I'm just clipping those to go with. Interesting thing about Portulacaria afra, it's native to South Africa, and it is called elephant's food because elephants really like this one. And it's full of vitamin C and other nutrients, and it's edible for humans. They actually use it in salads and soups and things like that. It has a sour lemony sort of flavor. I've tasted it before. This has been outside and it has dust all over it, so I'm not going to eat one on camera right now, but I have tasted it and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And if you like a tangy sort of flavor, of course. And I'm also trimming branches that are too low. That one was way too low, so that's coming off. Looking more to see some more that are hanging straight down. That one is essentially hanging straight down, so I'm going to go back on that one. How far does it go back? I might have to redo that one because I can't see it very well. I have a box here I'm putting the cuttings in. Yeah, bearded dragons. I'm not surprised that bearded dragons like it. I was speculating about that, but so that's cool. Marimba girl, you got a new jumping spider. Which species? Let's see. Oh, regal jumper. Phidippus regius, or regius, however you want to say it. That is a cool species. I love that one. I actually have a jumper coming really soon. I don't want to spoil the surprise too much. I'm also trimming ones that go almost straight up, so I'm going to do that as well. The ones that go straight up. The trees tend to be very vigorous growers straight up, and that you actually, when you clip it, my understanding is that that changes the hormonal signals that the branches get. If you don't trim the ones that go straight up, then it tends to branch out less. If you trim the ones that are going straight up, it tends to branch out more and produce more. So it's a good idea to do those. Unless you want to create a new leader, or the top branch, then you can leave that one. But I don't really want to create a new leader. Like I said, I'm not an expert at this at all. I've only been doing it very informally for about 15 years. So I do not consider myself an expert in any way, shape, or form in bonsai at all. Theropod hunter growing a Peruvian peppercorn tree because they're natural footplate for footplate for black beauty stick insects. Gotta love autocorrect, but that's cool. And thank you. My knee is getting better slowly. Fortunately, I've been able to work at home for a couple of days, and that has helped. I'm not on public transportation or driving for a long time, both of which are painful. And when I work at home, I can move my knee more often when I need to into positions that are more comfortable for it. While I'm typing and whatnot, I can play with that. So that is what I have been doing, and it's been helping. And I also been wearing a brace. I am wearing a brace right now, because when I don't wear a brace and I walk for any period of time, it does really nasty, painful things. So not fun. But it's progress, right? Let's see, Noah, congratulations on Armadillidium gestroy for having babies. After a month, that's not bad. They usually take longer. So, Corridora, yeah. Oniscus ocellus and A. vulgare are awesome. So is P. pruinosus. That's one of my favorites. If I could only keep one cleanup crew isopod, that would be the one. If I could only keep one isopod, that still might be the one. Just because they're so fun, so active. They come in different patterns and colors. They're really pretty cool. That's a wee one, but it is in the way. It's not where we need it. So that one's going too. No, there's a lot of plant mass down here now. So I'm trying to make good choices, babying my knees. I kind of need to. Let's see. Oh, I figured it was Food Plant Theropod Hunter. It's just autocorrect, By the way, check out Theropod Hunter's icon there next to his name. You've got the Porcellio expansus icon. Very fun. So Yotaro, trim the ones that go straight up and down. That tends to be the aesthetic rule for bonsai, and it depends on what you're growing, of course. Depends on what your purpose is. If you're doing a cascading style or bonsai or whatever. But if you want a type of branch that looks like a healthy tree, generally the ones in a bushy sort of tree, the ones that are going straight up and straight down don't really fit that aesthetic. So that's why that's done. And then I'm sure I'm missing some, and I'll have to get those later. Right now I'm also trying to figure out how many of these lower branches I'm keeping. I don't want to keep all of them, I think. There was one I trimmed off that was lower down that I really didn't want. But trying to decide how many of these I'm keeping. I probably won't finish trimming because it can be a long process. But we'll see. We'll see. I find 503, I often have the most success with plants in Vivaria as well. This is one of the few exceptions. I do okay with my air plants. I do okay with a few succulents, but I don't really do all that well with a ton of plants that are outside of Vivaria because they're just not as easy to take care of, right? But air plants, I feel like I do much better with those than most plants that I try to take care of. I mean, we have a few others, but I find the ones that are best are the succulents and the air plants. And This is, I guess this is a succulent, so that it's included in that group. But yeah, otherwise, and aquariums, I guess. Marimba Girl, yeah, totally. Hard to decide which isopods to get. Let's see. In Italian we say l'imbarazzo della scelta. It's hard to choose because there's just this overabundance of choice, is the phrase for that. Let's see. I might have to turn her around just a wee bit. So Laura has these same snips. That's cool. I really like these. These are new, but I'm liking them so far. Oh yeah, I can see that one's going down, not where I want it to go. Oh, what's that? That's shouldn't be going off. And I lost the area I was clipping. I don't know where it went. And I have been using a cushion under my leg there upon Hunter, yes. Sean Meister's here. Cool. My grandfather was a master with cactus. That's awesome. Oh, operated on 6 times. Yotaro, sorry to hear that. I'm hoping this is not the operation caliber injury. I'm going to have the orthopedist look at it on Thursday. It's the earliest appointment I could get. So that's what I'm doing. Fortunately, it's very near where I work. So in the morning, I go down to work and then pop over to the orthopedist for a little while and then go back to work. So I hope my knee can handle all that. Sounds like a lot. The brace helps, but the brace is not actually my brace. They gave it to my wife and her knee is smaller than mine, so I have to put it on loose. We got a plan shape for your tree. Well, I'm trying to make it look like a natural tree, but I don't have there's a perfectly upside down, down growing one. Take that off. I want to make it a natural shape, and I'm going to take it slow because I don't want to ruin it, but this is a very different shape than it was when I first got it, and honestly, I haven't trimmed it enough over the years. I want to make it more dense and compact, have a very nice dense crown. The beautiful thing about a succulent like this is that they grow fairly quickly. And when I got it, the trunk on this thing was probably, I don't know, I want to say like a sixth the thickness or diameter of this trunk, and maybe, I don't know, it was a much smaller tree at the time, but yeah, it's like 15 years ago. So I definitely haven't mastered the way of trimming. Oh, can you see horses on the bookshelf? My wife has some of those from when she was a kid, so probably is a briar. I know she has some of those. I don't know which one you can see, but it is very likely that, there's a branch that's going straight down right there. Take that off. So let's see. Have found air plants impossible. What is your secret? Well, in the past, I used to have some issues with them, and I've found that if I keep them in a window where they get decent light but not too bright, and it depends on the species, of course, like Tillandsia tectorum likes a lot more light and will do well in direct sunlight. A lot of them prefer more filtered light. There's some others, like I think it's Tillandsia. Let's see, what are some of the others that I'm having brain fog right now? Tectorum is one. The big one, it's not stricta. What is it? I don't know. I can't remember now. Anyway, I digress. In most of them, like some filtered light in the window, and then I use, I go get the kind of water that they tell you to get at the store that is mostly, you go to the machine and it does the thing where it does carbon filtration and UV sterilization and RO and all that, and I use that water, but then I don't use just that water. I mix that water with a little bit of tap water, so there's some mineral in it, but not very much, just a very small proportion of that. And or I'll put a little bit of Tillandsia fertilizer in it. And I found that the least maintenance intensive way to keep them in my experience has been to simply spray them about once a day. And this might vary depending on where you live, because I live in a fairly dry area. Spray them until they're kind of soaked once a day, and then let them dry out. And they do. They dry out quite quickly. And I have done nothing but that, sometimes even less than that, for Tillandsias for over a year. I got some Ionanthus and did that, experimenting, is that going to be enough? And it was, and they were pupping and everything. And then that was even without fertilizer, and then I added fertilizer to that, a monthly fertilizer or so, and then they started growing faster and pupping more quickly. And so that seems to be the secret for me. And Tectorum is even easier because you fertilize less often with less concentrated fertilizer, and you also don't let it, you also don't soak them. You just spray them lightly and let them dry out. You don't even maybe put them upside down after you spray them, so they have a chance to dry out before you turn them back up so they don't rot. And some of them I will soak sometimes, but that first experience with the Ionantha, first experiment I should say, which wasn't my first experience with air plants, but my first really successful one, is that they will do really well in that regimen. But some of the other ones, especially the ones that need more water, I will soak for like 20 minutes in the water I described earlier, and then I will leave them alone for maybe 3 or 4 days or a week before I water them again. And that seems to really do the trick for me. Okay. Whoa, Marimba girl, that's quite a surgery. Crazy. Grilade, welcome. Do bonsai learn like other plants can? Oh, I don't know. Good question. I would imagine so, though. If there's, I've only read a little bit about, that kind of stuff, but I've heard some interesting, intriguing things that way. Yeah, and I think if I were an expert at trimming bonsai, and I am definitely not, that I could have this plant much further along than I do now, but it's still fun. I still love it. I also think that if I were even just more, how can I say, more consistent about trimming it, I guess, that's what I want to say. If I were more consistent about trimming it, I think that would help. This summer, when I put it outside in the spring and started, I would just come by and pinch it back, which you can do with this plant really quite readily. Just pinch back the growth at the top to help it bush out, and it did. But then as summer went on, I did it less and less, and especially when school started again and stuff, I did it less and less, and it just kind of went crazy, which is what you saw when we started the video. But I'm not terribly consistent, like I said, and that can make a big difference. I think being very consistent with it. It also tends to make the leaf shape better. How many times have you repotted through the years? I've used this same bonsai pot for a really long time. I repotted it from its original pot, and I've changed out the soil a couple of times. I'm not sure exactly how many times I've done that, but ever since I put it from the original pot I bought it in, as a young bonsai that was just in a normal plant pot, and I bought the pot at the same time, put it into that pot. I haven't used a different pot since then. And I think a lot of times bonsai people don't, once they get it into the destination pot. But they do, take it out and replace soil and whatnot, substrate, once in a while. So I guess I've done that sometimes, probably not as much as ideal. But when I dug it up from outside, I removed most of the soil and put a layer of fresh potting soil underneath. Some succulents require very specific soils, and some bonsai require very specific soils. This one can do fine with just the soil from you know, the potting soil get from the grocery store or whatever. I got a decent potting mix that I put in there, but it doesn't really need anything super fancy, which is nice. So you used to collect briars too, 503. Cool. Yeah, my wife, there's quite a few. I don't know how many you can see, but she's got a dozen or so of them. You know, Rathke is one I haven't kept. I've thought about, I've been wanting to try the pumpkin pods, which are the orange form of T. Rathke. I can ship them, you know, they're on my permit and so on, but I've actually never kept that species. I don't find them here. And they seem pretty weird. The pumpkin pods that once in a while show up for sale seem to be pretty rare. They're not a common thing to see, the Trachelopus Rathke. It's too bad because I think they're a cool one and they seem to be fairly straightforward to care for and all that. You have to find them first, which I have not. I don't know if I'm going to cut that one back. Maybe a little bit. Oh, Melanie KM, that's awesome. A vendor selling exclusively isopods as care sheet listed your channel as a resource. Love that. I've had people ask me if they can do that. And honestly, if they just do it, I don't mind. That's fine. That's very cool. Love that. Oh, Laura Taylor, what kind of isopod was it that got out? The light one. Kearns 28. Yeah. You've got the icon too of the Porcellio expansus. Very cool. By the way, that icon, if I remember correctly, that's the one my daughter made. I showed her a photo and she made it into a drawing that was similar to the photo and made that. Ooh, a Vivarium that was red. Oh, that's too bad. Theropod hunter, only 2 years into bonsai growing experience is very limited. Yeah, I've only done it, I feel very limited on mine too, and I've done it a little longer, but it feels very limited to me. I think these people who grow bonsai their whole life and they're in their 80s or something, that's, you know, someday I'll be there, I guess, if I'm still doing it. I hope I am. By the time I'm 80, it's a long time from now, but. Let's see. Yeah, it's rough when you only find a single isopod. You're looking. I remember when I was in Arizona with Sky Island Adventures, and I found some of the desert adapted lavis, the Sonoran desert lavis, and I only found a couple of them at first, and I was like, this, I'm not going to be able to find enough to get a breeding colony going. And then a few minutes later, somebody called me over and said, oh no, look, we're finding more of them. And so we were flipping rocks and logs and whatnot. We found, you know, I think I ended up bringing about 10 home. And now that colony is big colony. Well, bigger. It's not huge yet, but it's much bigger than 10 for sure. I don't even know exactly how many are in there, but when I lift step up, I see a lot of them. So I know that colony has been growing robustly. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that branch is kind of going down more than I want to. So I'm going to trim it right there, I think. Oh, there we go. Love Rathke, but you're not missing much. Interesting. Why do you say that? There are bonsai fruit trees. I've seen some where they actually grow fruit on it. Like one of them that I saw, I think, was a lemon tree, and it had like 2 or 3 small lemons on it. It was pretty cool. And corridor, I think that's a good way to do it. Be sustainable, yeah. You do 10 or 15 and they're plenty others. Typically there are lots more in the area, and that is a good way to do it. Probably the best way. I have relatively few isopod cultures that I collected in the wild, but that is one. Let's see, Bob Russ trimming bonsai. Oh, actually, I need to tell everybody a couple of things. This is kind of important. At least I feel like it is. And that is, first of all, next time we do a live stream, which will be 2 weeks from today, I am going to be dressed as Bob Russ. I'm going to put the wig on and dress up like him, the whole business, because we asked about that in a stream a while ago, and there were people who were interested in it. So that's what I'm doing. It's going to be the stream right before Halloween, so it'll be like the Thursday is the 31st, so 29th, I guess, if I'm remembering quickly, the Tuesday before Halloween. I'm going to be dressed as Bob Russ the whole time, and we'll be streaming that way. And I'm going to be going through isopods. Hopefully, my idea is to have isopods in front of me that I'm working on, and you can see me doing it, but I also have another camera so you can see the isopods at the same time. That is what we're looking at. Oh, that's cool, Yotaro. It's pretty awesome these days when you find someone who has a 68th wedding anniversary. Oh, so a light type of Armadillidium vulgare, Laura Taylor. That's fantastic. I hope you find it again or find one like it. I guess finding that specific one, the chances are pretty astronomically low, but you never know. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to pass this bonsai down. Ooh, I see. Luigi of Destruction just left me a super chat. That's fantastic. Thank you. Love it. That's your 5th super on a live stream. Love it. Luigi of Destruction. Thank you. I guess no comment, just a super chat, which I appreciate. That is wonderful. Have any recommendations for a 3-gallon hexagonal vertical tank? I picked one up at a thrift store, but I'm not sure what to do with it. In terms of invertebrates you could keep in there, tell me a little bit about the lid. How does the lid work? That's true, Therapod Hunter. Tribute to Bob Ross too. Oh, the other thing is that next week I am posting a video, but it's going to be a short, and I wanted to tell you why and how that all works. So, thinking, can I do that? Can I get away with that? Big one's going. Lately, the algorithm has been slamming me. And I think much of that has to do with the fact that I do not release shorts very often. YouTube really is trying to push the shorts, and I have not been very good at releasing them. I've done a few, but I have not been systematic about it. So I think that is part of the reason YouTube has been slamming me. I kind of like how that's looking now. It looks more like a tree, I feel like. So what I have done is I've created a short, and I'm going to try to produce at least a couple shorts a month. And what I want to try experimentally is have 2 live streams a month, and on the days that I don't do a live stream, in between those 2 live streams in the month, so like 2 weeks there will be live streams, and the other 2 weeks of the month there will be a short that I release at the same time, probably at the live stream, and see how that goes, kind of test that out. I think the algorithm will be more friendly to me, and hopefully that will help, because I am not a huge fan of the fact that YouTube is trying to become Instagram and TikTok, Instagram is trying to become TikTok and all that. I say let TikTok be TikTok, let Instagram be Instagram, let YouTube be YouTube. Let them shine in the ways that they're unique, but that's not how the algorithm works, and that's not how people are running things. So, and the people who make those decisions don't listen to me. So, I'm going to have to do that. And see how it goes. So I won't be live streaming next week, but I will be releasing a short. And I actually like this short because it's educational. It's the it's a 2 truths, 1 lie format where I say I'm going to give you 3 facts and one of them is not true and you decide which one is not true, and then at the end of the video, of course, I tell you. And it's about one of my creatures. I won't spoil the surprise about which creature it is. But I'm going to try some of those, and I'll try some other things and just kind of see how it goes. See if YouTube's algorithm can be kinder to me. So if you could do me a great favor and make sure to catch that short, which will be on October 23rd, a week from today, at about the same time that this stream would normally happen. And if you can like it, share it if you think it would be appropriate. Don't spam it to people who wouldn't like it. But I think it has a little bit wider appeal, maybe, to people. They don't necessarily have to be like invertebrate fans to appreciate this video, hopefully. I mean, some people might not like it. I'm sure there are people that won't, but you see what I'm saying? If you can, interact with that video, leave comments on it, likes it, and stuff like that, it can really help the algorithm say, oh yeah, maybe this guy has something to say that people want to hear, and then maybe we can get the algorithm to treat me a little more nicely. Okay. Let's see. Snail Intelligence says yes. Inverts has a glass lid. Okay. Well, let's see. And there's a lot of items that you could do. A lot of things that you could do in that as far as invertebrates. You could do some fun things with quite a few different types of spiders. You could do, if you set it up right and it has decent ventilation with the glass lid, there are mantids you could keep in there if they have molting platforms. You could do, is it just, you're thinking just terrestrial or thinking aquatic? Because there's some really cool things you could do with aquatics in there. In a 3 gallon, you could do a mini aquatic setup and put some Anubias plants in there and get some small back swimmers or some diving beetles or both. Put just a couple of snails in there. It could be really cool. So. Oh, thank you, Steve. Yeah, I really like the trunk on this, how it's matured over the years. She's a beauty. There's one thing I was going to say about this type of tree. In Africa, where the elephants eat them, the elephants will yank big chunks of them out of the ground, like rip it, strip the leaves off, and throw down the branch. And then the branch will proceed to root and leaf out again. And so the elephants actually spread these, and they're tough enough to handle that kind of treatment and do just fine. So it's really interesting. They have kind of a symbiotic relationship because they're feeding the elephants, providing a food source for the elephants, but the elephants are providing a means of dispersal. Pretty cool. And that's why they're called the elephant bush, and I think their name in Afrikaans, which is spekboom, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, means something like bacon bush or pork tree or something like that, which is kind of fun. And I think it's not that they are related to pigs so much, like they make the people think of pigs. It's just that they're thick, they're fat, I think, but I could be wrong. So the diameter of this trunk, I would say, is less than 3 inches. It probably looks bigger on the camera. It's definitely less than 3 inches. Probably, well, it's definitely more than 1 inch. Somewhere between 1 and 3 inches, though. So the clippings, I was actually thinking, I was wondering if I could pick out some of the good clippings and see if somebody wants them. If I could ship them to somebody to grow, because they do grow readily if you root them. They don't need a callus period when they're this small. The thick ones might, but these don't really need it. But you can let them just dry out a little bit. They don't need to form a complete callus, and then just plant them, and they'll start rooting. I have cuttings from this plant elsewhere in the house, smaller cuttings that I've had for years too. This is just my main one. So I've thought about that. Oh, that's a good question, Steve. I wonder about that. Okay, well, anybody who's really interested in paying shipping for a good cutting or two, just send me a message. Laura Taylor, send me a message, and I think we could make that happen. That would be cool, because then I'm spreading. The name, I named this tree Speck when I got it years and years ago. It was for my birthday. like I said, 15 years ago, I think it was my first birthday after we had moved to a new place and I had gotten a new job and everything. And my wife got this for me. I mean, I picked it, but she got it for me as a birthday present, but I was the one who picked it. And I learned that the tree's name is Speck Boom, which I think is cool. And my wife used to, she doesn't really do it anymore, but she used to play Dungeons and Dragons, and she had a character named Speck, which was a little like a brownie character. And I thought, oh, I'll name it Speck after her character and the fact that it is a speck boom or bacon bush, whatever. So that's why it's called Speck, which is kind of fun. Oh, Timson has one too and plays with it and shares it, I mean. Oh, there's plenty I don't know about. There's so much. So much. Oh, I love the likes, everybody. Thank you for so many likes. All of a sudden we got a like spike there. I love it. Look at that like spike. That's awesome. Oh, there's a straight up and down one. Got to go. Let's see. Theropod hunter. Tamarix tetranda. Is that a tamarisk tree? European alder? That'd be cool. I haven't seen flowers on this one. I've seen pictures of the flowers. But I haven't seen I don't think mine is going to flower. It probably needs like some sort of environmental cue I'm not giving it, I'm guessing. But yeah, we're getting there. I think I'm going to trim that there. That needs to come down a little bit. See, what I need to do is encourage a little bit more growth here. And then I want to get it nice and bushy right here. So over the winter, as I trim it, that's kind of going to be my goal. Get it to go in that direction and get it to just bush out everywhere. Because I really just let it go to crazy over the summer. And now it looks a little bit more like a tree and not so wild, I think. Let's see. Turkish tamarisk, cool. That's kind of fun to say too. You know, these blades got really dirty because of all the dust that was on the leaves. I need to clean that off. Make sure it doesn't get too dirty. Didn't realize how much info he might have in that head. Well, I try. I'm still trying. It's an uphill battle, but I'm trying. A winter cool down for the jades, yeah. And I don't know if that's the same for Portulacaria afra or not, but. Invertebrate person, welcome. Oh, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. It's been fun, and I feel like I'm very much a newbie at bonsai shaping and so on, but it looks very different from what it looked like when I first got it, that's for sure. It didn't really have much of a shape. It was just a straight trunk and then just kind of bushy thing going on. Who's ready for brumation? I'm getting close to brumation for my snakes. Some of them are already starting to refuse food, which is pretty normal for red-sideds. My one red-sided that I have, red-sided, it's the Montana red-sided, you know, she refused food the last feeding, as did her eastern roommate. But all my melanistic easterns are still going after food. My plains garter is, he still took food last time. I was surprised he didn't take 2 pinkies, he only took 1, which is a little weird, but yeah, this is the last couple of weeks, about 2 more weeks, and then I'm going to stop feeding everybody. I just got an order of rodents in, because I'm like the neighborhood rodent order guy, so most of the rodents are not actually going to me. We all go in together so we can definitely get free shipping, and then I distribute the rodents. But I got some because I was out of mice and had just finished off a batch of chicks with our corn snake, and ideally I like to rotate so he gets chicks sometimes, and sometimes I give him quail chicks too, and mice and whatever. So anyway, I just ran out of chicks, so I ordered a bunch more mice for him and some other mice to store for the spring, so I'll be ready when they all come out and are ready to eat, which will be about, probably I'm going to wake them up in early January. Is that right? No. No, mid-January, I think. And then about a week later, they'll start eating. So I am getting ready for brumation. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting some melanistic babies and some melanistic hets, or het melanistic babies in the spring, and hopefully some red-sideds too. Sacabambaspis, bambaspis. Wow, Sacabambaspis. That is a fun name. So this plant is Portulacaria afra, also known as elephant's food, speck boom, pigbush, has a couple of different names, mini jade. Mojo Zoo, you're thinking of starting garter family. Awesome. Which species? Oh, Steve Adams. Yeah, purslane tree. That's another one. That's right. Ramingo, welcome. Is this plant foreshadowing that you're going to start keeping pet elephants? Well, I can neither confirm nor deny that. Just the fact that we have a 17-acre paddock out in the backyard that has been deemed pachyderm safe. Just kidding. No, that's not happening. Let's see. Oh, Ramingo, you just moved into your new apartment. Congratulations. That can be a very frustrating and difficult thing to do, especially when you have creatures to move. You know, the worst thing to move, in my opinion, is an aquarium, an aquatic aquarium. I've done it many times, but it is not fun. It is a rough experience, especially when you have many of them. Nope, I think I found a bit I still want to clip. I'm not done yet, am I? There we go. As I slowly spin this around, I might find another one. Selectively breed isopods to be the size of elephants. Yeah. How would that be? I'd be a little scared of dairy cows, honestly, if they were that big. They'd probably just want to eat me, huh? And even if they didn't, they'd probably run me over. Well, yeah, rehousing tarantula or moving tarantulas, Yotaro, I want to know. I still have just my one tarantula, but it's not the same one, if you've seen that video, where I send my my mature male off to Alex at Tarantula Haven, and he sends me very generously an adult female. So now I have her, and she arrived and settled in, went into pre-molt, molted not too long ago, and has been up and around for a few weeks, has taken several meals, including one yesterday. I think she's settled in. She looks gorgeous. I posted her a little video clip of her yesterday before I fed her, and she looks nice and beautifully blue. I think 503 commented on it. 503 has that same species. Moving houses with tarantulas, yeah. Okay, yeah, I bet that's not fun. Subtle azure tone going on. Yeah. So today's topic, just open topic. I'm talking a little bit about my very amateur bonsai hobby that's kind of a side hobby that I do a little bit here with just this tree. It's something that's interested me for many years. I became interested in bonsai as a kid. I've only had this one for about 15 years though. But I tried to grow bonsai as a kid. I collected some Siberian elm cuttings and got them growing for a little while, but I didn't know what I was doing, and they didn't get enough light, and things like that happened. I did that as a kid. But it's been 15 years, and I usually give this one a vacation outside in the summer to some degree. It's usually just in its pot, but this year I planted it outside in the soil outside of its pot. I've also planted it in the soil inside of its pot in other years and done different things like that, but this one I think it was happiest growing just in the soil, in the garden. So Ramingo, glad to hear you found my Wernerei care video helpful. I enjoy making those. I think Wernereis are really cool. The Armadillidium, both Porcellia Wernerei and the Armadillidium Wernerei are very cool. You were talking about the Armadillidium because that's one I just released. Very cool isopods, and it's been a fun series to make. Fairly popular. Let's see. Put your hen down in a tub of dairy cows and they'll have fun nibbling. True. A lot of them will. Porcella ornatus will do that. I'm trying to think of others that will do that. Most lavis, true lavis or afflavis will do that, yep. Weirdest piece of decoration in your house? Probably something one of my kids made in terms of like a Halloween scary decoration. I have one child in particular that really likes to make weird Halloween decorations, like scary ones, and they're cool. Don't get me wrong. That might be the most unique thing. We've got two pieces up that are appropriate for Halloween right now. One is a crested gecko, and the other one is a dart frog. But it's like they have some sort of weird eldritch vegetation parasite growing out of them, and like with eye stalks coming off of the plants and stuff. And so that is pretty weird right now, but it's perfect for Halloween, so it's appropriate. That might be the weirdest thing. I should take pictures of them and show you all or something. Let's see, I must have been about 15 years ago. I was around 35 when I started with this plant. So yeah, it is a cool thing to do. Bonsai tree fern, that would be fun. Oh, you can see the light bulb on the shelf. Yeah, I didn't even know you guys could see this shelf. That's funny. This light bulb used to go in the soft boxes right there, and it died, and I just put it there and left it there, and I need to fix that. Let's see, I think you made a great choice by planting it outside for the summer. It looks great. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that was fun. It makes these stems, the red, come out in these little stems when you put it outside, and the growth is more compact, the green is greener, and it's kind of fun. Remember that time when the streams with Dawn's garter snake started bugging out? I do remember that. And we had to restart the stream. I should do a stream with Dawn's garter snakes again. That'd be fun. So how's the isopods going? Let's see. I got some new ones that I haven't told you about yet, but you'll find out about some new ones on Friday. Yeah, I've been really trying to get ahead on videos, and so I have several videos that are pre-recorded ahead of time. Ideally, I would have at least a month out, but I don't always have that. But I'm getting close again, because what'll happen is that I'll get close to that, or at least have a few weeks out, and then something bad happens and I can't record, and I get behind, and then I try to catch up, and things happen like that. So it's been great that I've been able to do that. I love the icons, by the way, everybody. Keep those coming. If everybody clicks on those, I love it. It increases engagement, helps more people see the stream, and it helps me feel happy that you're engaging with the stream. So it's another way, in addition to comments, to do that. So I love to see that. And I got another one that I haven't made a video about yet, another species. I am trying to keep it pretty basic, because I'm trying not to do too many different types, and I'm trying to focus on species that I can ship. But those are the decisions I have to keep in mind as I'm doing that. But it's still fun when I can decide, okay, well, maybe I'm easing back on this species, not working with this type anymore, or this morph or whatever. But I can work with this one now, and it's tricky trying to do that. Ramingo, I've read a little bit of Lovecraft, not a lot, but like the eldritch frog and crested gecko on our wall totally remind me of, they're very Lovecraftian, for sure, from what I understand. My favorite book. That is rough. That's a hard one. I like a lot of books, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy is up there for me, for sure. Put that out there. Let's see, James. Brother, best way to keep water striders trying to breed. Well, I actually have a video coming out on breeding them pretty soon, because I have had success breeding them, more than one generation, and feel like I'm now qualified to go ahead and do that. So let me give you some basics though. One, just get the husbandry down, make sure you have plenty of floating items not too many, so that they need swimming room, but they need a few floating items. Cork bark's great, or other items that protrude from the water so they can get their eggs on those. And then feed them very well. That's the key. If you don't feed them enough, they seem to die off pretty fast, whether that is from cannibalism or it's from starvation or a combination of both. You need to feed them pretty frequently and pretty heavily. I like to rely mostly on hydei fruit flies for the adults and the older nymphs. When the smaller ones need smaller food, and they don't even seem really comfortable eating live melanogaster fruit flies, but they will take melanogaster fruit flies that have been frozen, and then you just throw them in, and they're so tiny, as soon as they hit the water, basically they thaw, but they still float. And the small nymphs, first, second instarish, will take those. And then once they get past that, maybe by second, third instarish in there, you can start just offering live melanogaster and the hydei, and they grow super fast on that. And then you'll start getting another generation within a month or two. They're super fast growers as long as they're getting enough food, but you need to feed frequently because they do seem to get really hungry really fast. So I hope that helps. I realize I'm missing bits of the chat here. Sorry, I do have Lord of the Rings on this shelf, I'm pretty sure. Unless we put them upstairs. Let me double check. Oh, that knee. Just a second. I'm just going to look around. I'm still mic'd, so hopefully I won't knock the mic off. Actually, I think looks like the Lord of the Rings is upstairs. I've got some random stuff on this shelf, though. Let's see. Just to show you a couple of things that are on this shelf that you might appreciate. No, that's not the book I meant to grab. I meant to grab this one. Here's one on vermicomposting. Worms eat my garbage. I've had this for a long time. It's upside down. No, it's not upside down. This one, I cultured rainbow worms in Hawaii with the information from this book. So that was a very valuable book. And then I've cultured also red wigglers here in the mainland with that. This book is a very ancient reptile book that I read as a kid, got it as a kid. It was, when was it written? I'm going to check. 1954. And I had this as a kid, and it had black and white illustrations of these reptiles, and I read this over and over again. Such a wonderful book that I enjoyed so much. A lot of the information, of course, is outdated now, but fun book. And then here is a grasshopper that I mounted when I was with Clint's Reptile Academy this past summer. We went and did a collecting trip to educate people on how to pin an insect properly, and pinned this one. Let me see if I can show you that properly. That is one I believe that Clint himself caught and shared with me. So that was a fun experience too. Let's see. Okay, so people are chatting about things, but it looks like they're answering. Other people are answering them. Most of those chats. Yeah. Some pet stores do seem to take isopods. It depends on the pet store, but let's see. So, Snaeleontologist, do you have any tips for dealing with USDA? I've tried to get permits for isopod interstate transport. They didn't get back to me for ages, and I missed the opportunity. I've actually had good experiences dealing with them. Carlos has been really helpful. I hope Carlos is still there. It's been a while since I've reached out to him, but Carlos has been good. Carlos Blanco has been good about getting back to me about stuff. Their system has changed a couple of times since I started doing it, and the new system is supposed to be better, but it's also kind of more confusing. And so I honestly haven't had to renew my permits since the new system started. So I'm still a little confused. The system before that, I did have to renew my permits with that one, but I didn't have to renew it since they did this new one. So I'm still going to need to figure that out in a year or so when my permits are up for renewal again. But let's see, hopefully you can, yeah, Carlos is probably really busy with what's going on. And I hear rumors of the isopod stuff being overhauled and changed and so on, and I don't know when that's going to happen or if it's going to happen. But what I would like to see, and this is just my opinion, I'm putting it out there, is that we have a huge list of invertebrates that are exempt from needing permits. And these include a lot of the staple hobby roaches like Gromphotodrina portentosa, the true Madagascar hissing cockroach. There's several other species of hissers. There's the, well, lots of them. Lobster roaches, giant lobster roaches, red runner roaches. What are some other ones? There's quite a few species. Green banana roaches, quite a few roaches. There are moths, there are fruit flies, there are superworms and mealworms, and many other species that are no longer regulated in that way. Like they're on a list that you can ship without worrying about permits across state lines. And I would love for some of the very common isopods to go on that list for the same reason. I think the reasons that I understand for these insects that are on this list is, one, they're either so common in the wild and in just ubiquitous and all over the states that there's no reason to regulate them because you're not going to change anything really, like rice flower beetles, for example, are on that list. And not Pyralis, what am I thinking? Like the Indian meal moth is on that list. There are various types of aphids. There's some grasshoppers that are on that list. So many kinds, and they're just everywhere, and so they don't need to regulate them because it wouldn't do any good. And then there are some like these, like Madagascar hissing cockroaches, that are not going to be able to spread in places where the winter is. I mean, there are certain states that have limits. Like in Florida, there are some states that have limits. It's one state that has limits on which type of roaches you can keep, but as far as federal regulation goes, there's not one, because there are very few places where Madagascar hissing cockroaches can actually establish themselves. And I'm thinking there are isopods that could go on that list, one, because they're everywhere, and so it doesn't really matter if you ship Armadillidium vulgare to a state, because it's almost 100% sure that it is in that state, already well established. Or something like rubber ducky that's definitely going to die in just about any state if it gets outside. So that's what I would love to see. And I think there are people who would agree with me in APHIS. I think there are people who are allies for the hobby and want to help us. And I think we just need to get more information out there to them, and I think that would be awesome. So Ramingo, my white dotted or zinger gestroid population going, are they going to be available in the future? Unfortunately, I can't ship them because they're not on my permits. So I have some, and they're awesome. I love them, but I can't ship them because of that. So kind of sad. But that is a species I hope gets shippable at some point in the future, because it is very common in the hobby and it's very similar to something like a zebra or a klugai in many ways, and I would love to see that, but I don't know that we're going to see that anytime soon. But who knows, maybe they'll be deregulated someday. That's what I would love to see, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Well, it looks like it's just about the wrap-up time for the live stream. So to reiterate a couple of things, because not everybody heard this probably, is that next week there's going to be a short instead of a live stream. Please, if you can and if you would like to do so, please interact with that short. Share it in places or with people you think it would be appropriate to share. so that we can tell the algorithm, yep, Russ makes shorts and it's okay to still share his videos, because they've been, the algorithm has been not so great about that lately. And then the week after that, so 2 weeks from today, I will be dressed as Bob Russ, and the whole stream will be looking at isopods and things like that, but I will be dressed as Bob Russ, and you'll see both me and the isopods on separate cameras. So that should be fun as well. And of course, make sure to check out the video that's coming out this Friday, which will be including another type of isopod that I have received and some other creatures that I have received. And then the week after that, I have some more information about breeding water striders that has been very successful for me lately. So that has been fun. So thank you everyone for joining in. I appreciate it. It's about time to stop, but it's great to have you all here, and thank you, and I'm glad you appreciated me bringing my little friend Portulacaria afra, aka Speck, with me and giving her a good trim. So have a great one, everybody, and we will catch you later. I love the Avatar quote, by the way, Yotaro. About that.